Diddy's troubles are not about to go anywhere anytime soon because even if there was any plan for a soft landing, 50 Cent won't let him. 50 is out for blood and just recently revealed how Diddy abused Cassie in an exclusive video that everyone had forgotten even existed. But you can't blame 50. Brother Love has been digging his own grave for years. His history of abuse would fill a spreadsheet from the White House down to Connecticut. And in this video, we'll be breaking down every last bit of it. What is this video that 50 has that could end Diddy? Why are the odds stacked so high against Brother Love? And is there a way he could come out of this a free man? Let's find out, Cassy.
What a beautiful dress.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to ask you, can't wait to see 3 a.m.
Yes.
The controversy.
Yeah.
How can we get a tape of this?
Oh, I'm going to send it to you. I will email it to you.
Email me the whole thing.
Yes,
I love
yes,
it. I love that you're constantly crushing the glass ceiling, or crushing the block.
If you know the context of this video, if you know what the 3 a.m. video is and what Diddy was promising to email to Andre, you will know that Cassy literally escaped a nightmare when she left him. And it's interesting because this entire section is about the videos and sex tapes that Diddy sent, and the 3:00 a.m. video was basically an extension of all that, but that's a wild claim to make. So what's the proof? More specifically, what proof would someone like 50 Cent have that would quite probably have ended Diddy if he allowed Cassy to take him to trial? It's an interesting question that will take us down memory lane if you were in tune with the times back in the early 90s. I'm talking 1991, and this ain't even about Cassy because we're about to chart out a very toxic element of Diddy's incredibly toxic persona. The woman in question was some lady named Joy Dickerson Neal, and her claim against Diddy came while she was in college. And when he was still a talent agent, this was before Bad Boy Records was even a thing, before Diddy got his autonomy. So she says that she had gone on a date with him, and that while they was on that date, Diddy had spiked her drink. She knows this because when he drove her to his music studio, she couldn't walk. And it was during all of that he made a move on her and assaulted her. But hey, wait, remember, this is a video about videos and sex tapes, because it turns out that Diddy not only committed assault on her, he filmed it and then he sent it to 2 of his homies. How does she know this, you ask? Well, because Devin Swing, member of the R&B group Boy, told her this is not he. This is documented, and the individuals that said these things are alive and haven't gone back on their statements. And hey, if this sounds new to you and you're wondering why the lady didn't go to the police with it when it happened, well, her reason was simple: shame and the fear that she would lose out of a record deal that he promised her. Now draw that same link through the 90s, through the creation of Bad Boy, its rise, dominance, and eventually leading up to Cassy. The common denominator is Diddy using promises of record deals to control the artist, mostly female, that he wanted to assault. That's why he gave Cassy a 10-year album deal from the jump. It was unheard of at the time. I mean, I have nothing against the lady, but she wasn't much of a singer, and that's being generous. She couldn't write, she could dance, but it wasn't anything special. But she was fine as hell, and that's all Diddy cared about. Diddy wanted her, so he did the most diabolical he could to get her, and when he had her to keep her, Diddy resorted to blackmail. Before we get to what 50 heard and saw, let's talk about what Cassy said in her lawsuit. Now, in the lawsuit, Cassy stated clearly that Diddy had forced her to have sex with male escorts while he watched and jacked off to it.
You fucking with this girl, like, you really, like, you like her like that? And he was like, yeah, that's my girl. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send you something. You look at it, you call me back.
So 50 cents.
But it gets even worse because Diddy forced Cassy to find the male hookers herself, and before she would sleep with them, he drugged her, and finally, like he had done to the lady from college, filmed all of it. My mother always told me many people won't tell the same lie all the time. So for the Diddy apologists out there, what's up? How do y'all explain this? And before you answer, know that there's more, because those tapes that Diddy shot were used as collateral. Really, it was blackmail material. Anytime she threatened to leave, he threatened to send it out, and eventually he did, because in 2010, during a radio interview with DJ Ukid on Shade 45, 50 Cent would talk about a similar tape that he saw that made him call Diddy's relationship with Cassy into question. At first, 50 wasn't even aware that Diddy knew the pictures existed because they were sent to his personal phone from an unknown source, and they were nasty, very nasty. In his own words, they were not that y'all saw, worse, way worse, like penetration pictures. Now, when you think of who 50 is and and how short the list of people who would have direct contact to his personal number, then you know it was either Diddy or someone close to Diddy that sent it to him. But like I said before, Diddy didn't know that. In fact, he immediately called Diddy to inform him about it.
Then he was like, so when we gonna get the chance to, to kick it, like we could just hang out. And he was like, why don't we like go shopping? I mean, like I pay for it. And I was like, what the this just saying?
How
So
50 loves you,
Cent
Diddy,
sent
because
him
he
the
literally
pictures
said
and Diddy
himself
called
that he
back
doesn't
saying
rock
that
with
the
you.
images had been
However, 50 is
obtained
not
by his
letting Diddy
guys
talk
and
to
that it
him
was a
that way, and
mistake
he
or
fired
something
back
like
at
that.
Diddy
But
hard.
50, who
Not in that
already
say
knew the type of
apologist.
that Diddy
Well,
was,
some-
knew that that wasn't the case. Diddy had taken those images as collateral for Cassie. It was his way of keeping her his girl, and that was probably the moment
However,
where
50 is
50's
not letting
total
Diddy-
disregard for Diddy began. The beginning of it all was the shopping incident.
Hey, what's up, y'all? We interrupt your browsing for this emergency announcement. This is my girl, Kim, my lovely girlfriend, KP, Kim Porter.
Because you can bet as hell that if it was Rick Ross he had seen that about, he wouldn't have cared. 50 Cent had used sex tapes against Rick Ross, so the fact was 50 could see that the girl was in danger. He could see that Diddy's relationship with Cassie was worse than a sham. It was the most destructive thing ever, and the images he sent to Diddy for confirmation was all the proof he needed. But
Did you hear about the fact that he broke Kim's nose on a yacht?
Wow, I ain't hear about that.
He broke Kim. Let's say allegedly, but it was told by people in her camp that he broke Kim's nose on a yacht.
true, you could argue that nothing here proves or shows any proof of abuse, but if you'd known what Diddy did to the lover he had before Cassie, if you knew what he did to the mother of his children, if you were aware of what he did to Kim Porter, you wouldn't be questioning the context of that IG video. You would know that Diddy was the most manipulative, diabolical type of serial abuser. Kim Porter.
And speaking of Kim Porter, because you knew Kim Porter, is it true that Diddy broke her nose?
Bust the nose, man.
Many of the
Let me paint the picture for you. The year is 2005, and by this time, Diddy and Kim Porter had been for more than 10 years. Well, technically, they had been, like she said, in an on and off relationship for more than a decade. During one of those momentary periods they were together, Diddy heard a rumor. The rumor was that Kim had gotten into a relationship with a colleague of Diddy in the industry, so Diddy lured her to Strope, rented a yacht, and led Kim on with the idea they were about to have a good time. That was not the case. Bodyguards would report hearing loud arguments from 2 a.m. By 7:00 a.m., it devolved into a beatdown. In the aftermath of it all, Diddy had beaten Kim so bad he broke her nose, so Diddy flew in a specialist surgeon from Geneva to repair her nose and keep her out of the public eye until it had healed enough. But it gets crazier, because if you tried searching for this story online, you would find absolutely nothing. Articles like The Sun that ran the story suddenly no longer have the story, and images of Kim from that time that had the model with a bandage on her nose have almost been completely done on the eye off the internet. This is just one of the last surviving images. My theory: Diddy went to great lengths to clean his digital footprint to ensure that there was no trace, because when it happened in 2005, it was a big deal and he knew but hey, you don't have to take my word or the word of some newspaper. Jane Deal also spoke on it. Then you hear the former Bad Boy artist Mark Curry would say the exact same thing. He says he witnessed the crazy relationship that Kim had with Diddy, how he beat her repeatedly, and how she suffered a lot more in his hands when the art of dialogue would ask.
It was alleged that she did have a book and that her book was about to come out. And she was talking about all the perils, everything that she went through in the music business and with Diddy.
Many of the Diddy apologists have said that Mark is only about Diddy because of their fight over publishing rights.
Diddy might
Well,
have
my
had a
answer
hand
to
in
that
Wendy's
is simple.
Guardian.
There is no one who has worked with Diddy that didn't have issues over publishing at some point. And if you've been following this story up until this point, then you've already noticed the pattern, because just like he did to Cassie, Diddy would also wiretap Kim Porter's phone. Mark Curry would even say anytime a man would go out his way to wiretap someone's phone or put tapes in their homes just to monitor their conversations, that's a sign of insanity. And it's not just Kim and Cassie. Misa Hilton has also suffered violence at the hands of Diddy. Misa is the mother of Diddy's oldest son, Justin, But it gets wilder because Mark would also claim that when Diddy hosted parties, he had separate drinks for his female guests. These bottles were infused with substances that made them real slippery. If the music industry was a person, it would be Diddy, cause just when you think the rot is deep, Diddy surprises you by going even lower. And that's why Jane insists that Kim's story is Cassie's story. The latter just got a happy ending, while the
Diddy
former
might have had a
died,
hand
but there's
in
nuance
Wendy's
here.
guardianship.
And what I'm about to say is incredibly sensitive, but it needs to be said. Sometimes there's no helping the abuse because they are drawn in too deep and make excuses for their abusers. Point in case after the nose-busting incident, when she was asked what happened to her nose, she would respond that she mistakenly smashed it into a table.
He tried it on me, so I know it's true. I got a phone call in the middle of the night, about 2:30 in the morning. It was, my wife says, pick up the phone. It was an unknown number.
Kim Porter died, and as you would expect, the first instinct of the general public that had been following their case up until their death felt Diddy was responsible. But when the autopsy came back, the results were death from pneumonia, and Diddy wasn't in proximity with her when she was found dead. So why were people convinced he took her life? Well, it might have something to do with the book that Kim Porter was allegedly writing at the time of her death.
Hey man, we didn't see what the BET Awards. We didn't see what the BET Awards. You know, what you doing? I'm like, I'm in bed with my wife. He said, I'm at the Beverly Hills Hilton, the Beverly Hills Hotel. I said, what's up? I said, who over there? He said, just me.
This book was supposedly a thorough breakdown of her relationship with Diddy. It was going to be a tell-all book, the kind that would send the fear of the devil up the spine of someone like Diddy, the kind of tell-all book that was coming from a source credible enough to bring down Diddy. If it was Kim Porter talking about Diddy's gay relationships, him giving Usher an STD, Mary J. Blige having a kid for Diddy and having an abortion, the sexcapades and his revolting kinks, no one would doubt it. No one would doubt it the way some folks doubt Cassy. And it's not like I'm saying they really doubt Cassy, I just feel they aren't taking her seriously enough, especially after she took a $30 million settlement. Maybe if y'all heard what the men had to say, maybe then you'd listen. The men.
Next thing you know, somebody rang the doorbell. We had the presidential suite where we was at. So I opened the door and the dude said, yo, I'm here for my cousin. I said, who your cousin? And he said, Ja Rule.
It was Diddy. The story that Columbus Short would tell here is eerily similar to the countless others that other men in the industry who have had the unfortunate fate of crossing paths with Diddy would also tell. The man swung both ways, one into the bedroom and the other way into the
closet. I threw him into the piano. Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked.
Both men.
Diddy was Short trying to stomp his yard, and while Short was smart enough to not bite the bait, not many artists have been lucky. I have already dropped a couple of alleged names, but there's more. There's enough evidence to suggest he was doing something similar with Ja Rule. Why else do you think 50 Cent hates the dude so much? The incident in question had to do with butt plugs of female rapper Ja Rule and Diddy in a hotel's presidential suite somewhere in Atlanta. Jan Deal was the one standing guard at the door while they was doing God knows what. What's funny is that he didn't even know at that time that there was a sex experiment going on behind those closed doors. It was until someone knocked on the front door.
Josh said, you ain't want to go in that room. There's a lot of freaking going on.
Deal went into defensive mode almost immediately and stopped this cousin, but the cousin wasn't having it, and after a brief back and forth, Jane was forced to throw the cousin on a piano that got the attention of both Puff and
On again, off again relationship.
And we were on our way to the Island of Women. You understand? And this is all it was, bruh. For whatever reason, dude was playing with Puff. He went behind him and grabbed his trunks and pulled them down.
Both men were terrified, but both men were obviously naked. Were they on a devil's threesome? Or was the devil right there with them in the room? We can't know for sure, but Ja Rule would give Jan a clue when he found out why his cousin was pinned down on a piano by Diddy bodyguard.
Puff got one of the hottest DJs off of Hot 97 because she wanted to put up a picture of him getting his pants pulled down.
Notice I ain't even talk about 50
dragging
Cent,
Diddy
and we
for
still
SA
got a case. It's
allegations,
endless
you
the
would
number
think
of men that
that
have come
Diddy
out to
would be on
point
the
to Diddy's
side.
zestiness
Thought he
in
needed
his
some
more than
code.
3 decade career, and you see the problem ain't about his sexuality, it's the fact that he most likely forces men that are not into that way to do things he wants. It's easier for him to abuse women, but it's not impossible for him to sexually abuse men, especially when he has something that they desperately
might have
need.
had a
If you
hand
don't
in
believe
Wendy's
me, then
guardian.
You have no idea how the industry works, because if you've been listening, you would have heard people talk about it. People like Wendy Williams, who back in the 90s was a loudmouth radio disc
Decided
jockey
to
in New
mock
York
and
City
dismiss
during
the
her
whole
reign as the
situation.
queen of urban gossip. She frequently inferred that Diddy was gay, but then it reached a true peak in the mid-990s when Wendy got her hands on a photo that showed Diddy engaging in what looked like a sexual act with another man. The photo showed a man pulling down Diddy's shorts while he was on a yacht vacation in Cancun. It wasn't exactly proof that Diddy was gay, but it was enough proof to fuel the rumors enough to hurt his career, destroy his street cred, and make him a laughing stock in his duel with Suge Knight.